It is time for our Sicko segment. So Meltzer said what is on to Hangman's ass, no Diddy. And he goes, the storyline that caused the biggest wrestling boom and drew the biggest crowds in a quarter of a century is Elbow. Again, this self-falating oxygen to the brain deprived. Holy, Meltzer said what usually doesn't go this hard on people. He goes, again, this self-falating oxygen to the brain deprived who they pick to review WWE. I've proved my point enough. Into the abyss you go. Yeah, Meltzer said what? He's DM me. He's like, man, Elbow just irks me. And it's pretty funny. Let's read what Elbow's saying here. So he's like, pleading for WWE Twitter to get off Gunther's meat. Y'all were not talking about Roman like this during the numerous extreme quality dips during the title reign. And then this guy's like, it's absolutely hilarious how high the standards Bloodline stands have for guys like Gunther and Cody when Roman was putting on these super average matches full of BS outside interferences during the peak of his tribal chief run. Yeah, so you guys like moves. So instead of telling everyone they're stupid, because you guys are so stupid that you like moves, and you can't just go, I like moves, bro. Right? So instead of just being able to having the self-awareness to understand that and admit that, accept that, you just call everyone else stupid when you're the dumbest ones who can't just go, we like moves. And that's all. Like, okay, you think wrestling is doing moves. It could be in front of your cousins in a backyard on a tarp. It could be in front of 10 million people. As long as they're doing cool moves, you like the cool moves, right? So that's all it is. But the reason Roman can do less average match, what makes it an average match? Okay, he didn't flip or do his physically athletic, whatever the. Okay, but when Brock Lesnar flipped that crane, he took the crane and flipped the ring, and that's like people will never forget for the rest of their lives. And that required like something else that made it a good match. Let's say, I'm not saying that's the greatest match ever either, but you guys get what I'm saying. Like, there's certain elements that make a good wrestling match. Not all of them are the physical thing, and the majority of people understand that, but you all don't. But you think everyone else is dumb. Crazy, man. It's insane. And this is why this right. Oh my God, do I have to read all this? Holy Elbow goes, numerous actively terrible pay-per-view main events. He would have had a bad and predictable title of defense with multiple ref bumps retained and then off for months. And these morons scream cinema. But ask them about Cody and Gunther and they act like they're having Jinder Mahal title runs. Enough. But like, who are you talking about? This is such a niche little bubble of. Here's the thing, right? You sickos all sound like this and all do this crazy mental gymnastics dumb, right? Whereas are you talking about like a very niche group of wackos who are saying that Gunther and Cody aren't having good title runs or matches? Because I'm enjoying all of Cody's and Gunther's title matches. I look forward to them every time. There's maybe one Gunther match where I'm like, all right, he's going to retain recently. But Cody's like, why everyone's going to these shows? Like, who are you talking about? Like a very niche subsection of wacko WWE fans who want it on Cody and Gunther. I guess they are saying the Bloodline stands. So they're singling it down and they're like, to them, but they're saying it's cinema. But like, no, dude. The Bloodline itself is why, like, all of the WWE, it elevated a bunch of the stories and everything else around it. Basically, if you're a fan of the Bloodline, you're a fan of WWE right now. If you're not a fan of Bloodline, I don't know how you're watching WWE the last like 3 years. You know, I don't know how Cody was able to lose some aspects of it.
The Bloodline is how Cody was able to lose at 39 and make 40 so important to everyone. What is like,
right, man? So I just don't know, like, why, like they're like, oh man, they're gonna defend Roman and then maybe there are people, yes, if there's an individual, like a few morons out there, but if that's enough that makes Elbow write this whole thing, and this is the guy who's supposed to be reviewing WWE, and he's like going off on how Bloodline people are stupid and Bloodline is the biggest thing in the industry. The wrestling industry would not be what it is right now. The WWE global industry wouldn't be what it is right now if it wasn't for that. So that Cody could come in and carry it after that. It's just crazy to me, man. To me, it's like finding ways to on WWE and long rants that don't really mean nothing. You know, it's like Coke to me.
Guy who dresses up like Roman and does all the live streams. That's who he's talking about. That's it. He's like Dave. He gets the opinion from one person, and that's everybody.
Yeah. Roman's in-ring effort of the majority of the second half of his tribal chief run has been non-existent. He gets away with it because the crowds are hot. Oh, man, and they always do this. He gets away with it because the crowds are hot. Elbow, why are the crowds hot? Why were they hot for Hogan? It's not getting away with it. That's what the art, that's literally what pro wrestling is. Bro, we need to draw these crowds and not actually hurt each other. How do we do that? That's what it's about, man. It's what it's always been about. Okay. Roman's not putting in sloppy shot matches. They always have story. A couple of these bloodline ones have gotten a little scrambly at the end. Okay. But his role isn't to do flips like Axiom. Roman's role is to do a match that tells doing very little while telling a lot of story with physicality and facials and the other things going on. That's like his role. Everyone has a different role. So, okay, you want him to have an Axiom Nathan Frazier match? That's an NXT. But Elbu will cry and say that he can book NXT better than Shawn Michaels. He literally says that. And so how are we supposed to take any of your assessment on the Bloodline seriously when you don't even understand, oh, he doesn't need to work hard because the crowds are hot. Why are they hot? Why does he not need to do that? Because of that he's done. Because it's just so crazy to me. You have to explain this. Like, you have the people in the building because the stories are so hot. The thing that you're saying is the reason why he doesn't have to break his neck doing a back suplex on Rampage that's going out of business like Daniel Garcia. That's why. Okay. God damn it. Anyways,
these are the same people who bitch about like a 20-minute talking segment that everybody raves about, but they, I want wrestling on my wrestling show. You got it. It's a promo. That's part of the deal.
He gets away with it.
Guy. If you disagree with Elbu every single time, you will be right or less wrong upwards of 95% of the time.
No, it's true.
I'll raise that to a full 100. I'll raise that to a full. He was like, WWE being good again is bad for wrestling. Like, that's the ultimate tweet. He said the stuff about that he could book it better than Shawn, and that's terrible too. But to say WWE getting hot is bad for wrestling is the worst take ever.
The number one ballerina in the world is super talented. Every backup dancer at the Beyonce halftime show does the exact same moves as Beyonce, but people pay to see Beyonce, not the ballet dancer. The ballet dancer gets money from tax-exempt donations and foundations.
So he says he gets away with it because the crowds are hot, but an otherwise completely unacceptable level output. An otherwise completely unacceptable level of output. To who, bro? So was Andre the Giant giving you an unacceptable level of output? You fucking mark. It is the dumbest. I can't believe this guy's grifted his way into being anything involved in wrestling.
He's such a soft bottom. I can't take it. Just please.
So he goes, he gets no smoke from the same fans that scrutinize the best wrestlers in the promotion. Sammy Hogan. Cody's title reign is mid. Let's have a conversation about Gunther. Who, bro? What sicko weirdos got you this triggered where you're writing this essay about this? I just don't get it. How about let's have the conversation about why The Rock came back to pro wrestling and quickly became far more enamored with Cody Rhodes as a performer. So much so that he's the main focus and target match. How about that? Okay, we did talk about that, bro. That's the thing. And you were all coping and crying and talking about how The Rock's going into business for himself and how you all, like, you were all coping and crying, Elbu. Because you're like, oh no, WWE's hot again. Like Jake,
he was pointing out how Will Ospreay and Mercedes Moné were great investments paying off for AEW. Listen, I have 3 points with regards to Elbu, and then I'm done. And they are as follows: 1, 2, this, 3, guy.
Yeah. Anyways, though, how about let's have the conversation? Yeah, dude. Also, Cody, he wasn't trying to work with Cody, and he wasn't enamored. That's why he decided to go back, Elbu. Or go against Cody, rather. That's not it. It's because the crowd and everything and the way it, like, people had to fight backstage. There's rumors Cody went into business for himself when he pointed at Roman and all that stuff. So believe what you will, but I just think it's more the business made sense, Elbu. And he goes, go on YouTube and watch. And it's like, why he was so enamored with Cody Rhodes. Yeah, Cody, bro, like, it's always this, oh, I love. These people are still, like, emotionally attached to, and yes, you're supposed to be that in characters and television and stuff. But it's too personal. Like, bro, it made more of a business sense, and that's not what you ever think about. Right. You know, you're just freaking out of
if WrestleMania was a failure, if they sold 2/3 of the building out both nights and everybody hated it and wasn't raving about it, this would have made sense. He's writing this 9 months or however long after the most successful WrestleMania of all time that people are still excited about, and somehow this Bloodline story with a B-level Bloodline, the 40% of them are injured, and it's still the hottest story in wrestling, and he's writing this complaint piece now. I repeat my earlier 3 points: 1, 2, this, 3, guy.
Yeah, Dose, I thought you only had 3 things to say about him. Jesus. Why don't you piss on the ashes while you're over there?
Please do.
Videla annoy me more than any 2 people in the IWC.
So he says, go on YouTube and watch 24-hour Bloodline comps and leave the rest of the wrestling fans alone. No, dude, I like people standing who they stand. Stop being a pussy.
Yeah.
He goes, they don't know about wrestling, don't like good wrestling, and would be content seeing an endless stream of Polynesian men run in every few months to stare at each other, pose at each other, and fight each other in a never-ending circle jerk storyline to no end. How many innings does this game have? Go away. Oh, my God. It's just so
same
funny.
way as Elbow, go away.
Yeah, dude. And it's like, bro, they don't know good wrestling. Okay, so what's good wrestling? He can't.
We're great.
Yeah, he can't quantify that. Like, I could debate anyone on this thing because it's either a subjective matter of taste, to which your matter of taste is less popular than everyone else's, period, or we quantify it and we go objectively what makes good wrestling. Now,
Sure.
what are the factors that we factor in? A draw, how many people are there? No, we don't want to factor those. Okay, let's go on just on the physicality. So selling, is that more important than flips, right? You can quantify these things and figure out, like, if you want to figure out what's better wrestling. I think better wrestling, is personally, I like the athletic flippy from time to time. I like it being mixed in there. And I also like when people save big moments for WrestleManias and PLEs and like that. And I like storytelling. And I like when guys like Jericho and Triple H have to go out there. And I know, like, Triple H and Jericho are always like, oh, WrestleMania 18, we had to follow Hogan Rock and go out there and have an actual match. But as a kid, man, I always admired that. And I was always like, dude, these guys had a good match. This is WrestleMania. Like, fuck, man. I like Hurricane flying around, losing the hardcore title. And then you have a cruiserweight title match. And then you have the 2 guys like The Rock and Hogan who can just do a pose off. And that's a real mix of wrestling. In AEW, when you get the same cookie cutter, they're going to trade chops. Then he's going to flip, and then they're going to bleed, and then he's going to flip, and then he's going to power up and show his fighting spirit, and then flip. Like, it's just the same. Everyone's doing the same goddamn thing, right? So we can argue that either way. Now, you could say that's subjective, or we could quantify my way and go, well, look at what's selling the most. Look at what's the most popular. Look at who are mainstream. Look at what's working and what isn't. Look at the careers that are longer, the longevity of careers. We could go on and on about this. However, just for him to be like, everyone's stupid who doesn't agree with this thing that most people don't agree with me on. It's like,
I mean, yes, there's subjectivity to this, and everyone's entitled to their own taste and opinion. But he says it authoritatively. But there are objective measurements that you can do, and in every one of them, whether it's ticket sales, attendance, social media engagement, TV ratings, TV money, competition for TV shows, in every metrics, merchandise, WWE, there's not even a close number 2. So you can measure it. And then all of these people who say, well, that's because it's like McDonald's. No, the McDonald's analogy only works
if so stupid.
If you're like La Bernardine or the French Country or the French Kitchen, and you're like $3,000 a meal. No, AEW is cheaper than WWE. So the analogy only works if the price point is the same. So in this case, AEW is the McDonald's price. Now, WWE isn't necessarily the Palm, but it's somewhere between Outback and the Palm as far as price-wise. So even by that analogy, it's not good. So if you want to go, well, some of the greatest art is free. Well, that's called a tax-exempt, not-for-profit organization, which is what Tony Khan actually should do, is make a 501c3 for the betterment of wrestling and the wrestling community. And it can be his foundation, and he can take donations for it. And then nobody cares if they make a profit because they're not supposed to.
God damn, you're dropping bombs. So Elboo as well, to say this on December 21st, 2024, before our Lord's day of birth, okay?
Not our Lord.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, El Chaim to our Jews
He's
on the
the
panel.
handyman for us.
Yeah. But anyways, though, he goes, "You want random?"
Built my deck
Yeah.
in New Jerusalem.
Jesus Christ!
Good God.
Good God Almighty! Listen, you want random camera cuts and zooms and BWOMs? Go watch Fast and Furious or a Michael Bay film. Enough of it. It's ruining the medium I love. It's an infection. Off. So who are you saying this to, right? Because AEW's literally copying WWE's camera cuts and the drone shots and all that. There is no zooms and camera cuts anymore. They got rid of that. So to say that like a few days ago is crazy. You don't watch WWE. This is the guy they have reviewing Raw, which is insane. And it's funny because this is what the sickos, they like Fast and Furious, Michael Bay film. What about John Wick? That's what people say about AEW. Oh yeah, what about movies that are just action front to back? So it's funny that he's using that analogy for like camera cuts for like WWE. I don't know, they don't do that anymore, so it's just weird to say that now. It just seems like you don't really actually watch it and you're just looking for reasons to hate WWE. And that's why
I think AEW is like the Fast and the Furious. It's the same goddamn match all the time. It's the same sequences. It's
that's what I'm trying to say. These guys use that analogy. No action movie is just start to finish action. And then someone said to me, "What? Oh yeah, like John Wick, right?" And first off, it's like, well, the exception doesn't make the rule, A. And B, really, no. In John Wick 1, there's a bunch of storytelling. And then in John Wick 2, 3, and 4, it's just ass kicking because you're already invested in the character. You know what I mean? So even the first Fast and Furious movie, it's like a street level.
Really good.
The first Fast and Furious movie is all like drama and people making out and I'm a cop. Are you a cop? No, I'm not. It's all about that. And it's the least amount in there is racing, although it is prominent in the film. And then the rest of the movies, after you're invested in all the characters, they're just like, okay, the team's back. Let's just blow it up. So it's like, no, that actually doesn't work. Like you got to establish people. And then that's why I say, like, okay, if you establish The Undertaker to me at WrestleMania and he's trying to protect his undefeated streak, it makes sense that he's going to dive over the top rope somebody doesn't normally do or whatever. You know, like I believe that.
Jumping,
it makes sense.
A jumping tombstone. Yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense that Ospreay would do a 740 through 2 tables and a exploding super kick or whatever, because this is
he does it on Collision.
Yeah, exactly. But if you're just doing the same on Collision, it's like, who cares then? So I don't know. It's just the simplest thing that everybody, it seems like it shouldn't have to be explained, but all these sickos need this aspect of things explained. So we have, this is hilarious to me because this AEW fans Latino America account is just a crazy toxic psycho who just goes after everyone. And so much so that AEW wrestlers themselves have quote tweeted this guy and been like, dude, off, like you literally make things worse. And they don't say that to all these accounts. Okay. But I'm telling you, a lot of these wrestlers hate some of these accounts, like these AR Golds, and they hate them. I'm telling you, this guy right here, wrestlers hate this Latino America guy, but it's funny because he's going off on AEW now. He's like turned his back, right? So like Matt Hardy's been like, dude, shut the fuck up. Like you're not a real AEW fan. Other wrestlers too, right? And now this dude is like turning his back on AEW. You're starting to see it. The sickos are starting to turn, or else they're bots and they're just going with trends. I don't know. But this guy's like, so he should give Billy another chance to make her lose again. What kind of decisions are those? That's why the audience doesn't grow, because that idiot doesn't understand that is not what he wants, but what the fan wants. He doesn't understand that. He's calling Tony Khan an idiot. Okay. And this is a guy who's gone after wrestlers for leaving the company and been like, you're a traitor and stuff. And so this guy's like, he's shocked viewership and attendance is so bad. And AEW fans Latino America goes, absolutely. One of the things I criticized AEW for was why they gave titles to new people who had just arrived. But then I understood that WWE needs to do that to please its public and not because they want to do it as a company. And I realize that now. What the and then so he's even going at Tony Khan, dude, and he's like, cons like justified. This is awesome chance for Ring of Honor Women's World Championship, whatever. AEW fans Latino America says, now I understand why the company doesn't grow an audience with this type of terrible booking. So he's really mad that Athena retained her title. And he's like, until when are you going to have Athena as champion? Don't you realize that you are ending your own talents? Athena should go to the AEW roster. Stupid. Why are you so stubborn? And it's true. Like, why wouldn't you have Athena drop the belt, let Billy reign with the belt? And if you're paying attention to Ring of Honor, I pay attention to it more than most people I know. I don't watch every show, but I do tune in for their pay-per-views. And so, yeah, it's like this is her big rematch. Athena beat Billy last time, but then Billy's like fought her way back and is over. Like, she's trying, you know? She's over to that small amount of, if you pay attention to them on social media like I do, right? Athena's over as well, in my opinion. That's the stuff that's working in Ring of Honor. It's really carrying Ring of Honor. And so Athena should have just went to the main roster. Billy Stark should just be the new AEW Ring of Honor, pardon me, Women's World Champion. And I agree with that, but I'm not like having a psycho meltdown like this guy. But anyways, he's like, Athena should go to the AEW roster. Stupid. Why are you so stubborn? And he's like, I'm about to stop watching the shows because this piece of cocaine doesn't think about the fans. He called him a piece of cocaine, dude.
They turn
The best guy is Tony Khan.
That's crazy. Doesn't think about the fans. Everything good that he builds himself then destroys. Athena has been stuck in ROH for a while and should be on the main roster. He gives Billy a rematch only to make her lose. I'm on the verge of giving up also. So you shouldn't have blocked Phil Marks. PWT's been right this whole time. I just called it out before you idiots saw it happen. I tried to prevent this by being critical. I tried to warn people and get my voice out in the Twitter sphere so that Tony Khan would be like, oh my God, maybe this guy's right. Or maybe some fans would wake up and go, yeah, dude, we should ask for change because Tony really cares about the fans, right? Nope. And now all you who hate me and hate all these other accounts for just calling it out. Are we assholes now? Are we wrong? Should you guys have hated us?
Of course, we were always wrong.
Yeah, dude. I just said this before you did, and I saw this coming. I knew that's what Tony was doing when he stuck her on Dark and Dark Elevation, and she was getting over. And I was like, why is Tony doing this? And then he stuck her in Ring of Honor. They never got a TV. And I was optimistic then, too. And then what did he do? Nothing with Ring of Honor. He's all over it. And I went, okay, so what's Athena doing? Nothing. She's been there for 2 years as their longest reigning champion, trying to make something work. And I just called it out 2 years ago, and you guys are mad at me. And that's how it goes, man. Now you guys turn around and what? Now we're all friends. We're going to sing Kumbaya, and you're going to send me apology letters. You're just going to still be dicks.
Dicks.
Speaking of dicks, here's Elbow.
Nice.
And let's hear this clip.
Solid transition.
People absolutely on all of these guys for this. I never listened to this until this moment. This had people furious at Elbow here.
You know who I compare Roman right now? John Wick. He's a badass. Roman's a badass. You understand? And
did they just say John Wick after I just dissected the John Wick thing? Who would have done?
He doesn't speak. He hasn't been speaking much lately. But when he speaks, his aura, and you're just like, okay. I don't know if I should say this, but you know how there's obviously a certain. Okay, his name is Hitler. Yeah. No, hold on.
What the fuck? Whoa.
Who did he just compare to Hitler?
Yeah, I thought he said Roman. That's what I heard.
You know who I compare Roman Reigns right now to?
Roman Reigns. I compare him to Hitler. Not even Gunther, not even the giant Austrian guy who makes everyone strike a pose.
He's an actor on a professional wrestling show, for God's sake.
But he's talking about Roman. Roman reminds him of Hitler. I mean, now, it's just crazy. They always say crazy like this now. I'm not like triggered by words like, oh, you can't do that. But let's hear his rationale behind this. Why are these people always caught up saying dumb?
Okay, his name is Hitler, yeah? No, hold on.
What the fuck?
Where is this going?
It's just like, someone asked him the question, who has aura? He said Hitler. Now listen, when you say that name, everyone's like, no, I don't want nothing to do with that. Or they or whatever, innit? Hitler, by the way. I'm just saying. But like,
you mean
I shouldn't use that.
Like it's evil. Yeah, thank you for making your stance on Hitler.
So Hitler had aura.
Who said that?
They're saying
No
Hitler
one said
had.
That.
They're saying Hitler had aura or something.
I don't, like, in fairness, I don't know who was speaking.
I don't either. This is crazy.
Up with the voices, and there was definitely some checking it. Let's not give people passes on what they say, what they think is.
Yeah, I don't get triggered
private
by it, but it's
and-
just silly. It's silly to like.
I mean, if you say Roman Reigns reminds you of Tony Soprano, he's supposed to. If you want to say John Gotti and be edgy, that's fair enough. But I mean, Hitler, come on, man.
Right?
That's
a big jump.
Yeah, thank you. I want to get
Thank you, man. Thank you.
I think we all agree Hitler bad, but why
Yeah, Hitler
what
bad.
is going on?
Like,
Are you trying to say he has an evil aura?
What
no.
Oh, no.
Roman Reigns' aura is completely different. Like, it's on a different level compared to. Like, here's the thing: everyone says this wrestler has aura. No, they don't, bro. The only wrestler who has aura is Roman Reigns, bro. Like, bro, his feet hits, bro. Like, bro, his feet hits.
I get what you're saying right now. I do, but what the does Hitler have to do
Bro,
with
why
that?
did you bring up Hitler?
What?
What?
Bro, this is a weird. They want to be in their own little bubble. Let them. It's just a weird corner of the IWC where I'm like,
Yeah, but it sounds like most of the voices there were checking him. So,
which is
I'm
good.
I'm
Yeah, you're
satisfied
right.
with what I'm hearing.
So somebody said to back up Hangman for some reason. Elboo, they go get out our community, right? So obviously, I'm assuming the internet wrestling community. However. I don't know. People are just so. So then someone made this Photoshop of WWE people. It's so people are way too savage, bro. Yeah, it's so stupid, man. Oh my god.
They just want to hate so bad. He
clearly meant the IWC too. Like he didn't
Right.
mean that in any ways either. So I don't know. That's funny. But MJ from NJ goes, Punk's point of joining was revenge for Paul. He immediately comes out and gets physical. These are some of the worst takes you'll see on Survivor Series all day. So Elboo's like, this was genuinely the tone setter that told me the main event would be okay. And then this guy goes, this was great, but whoever booked and produced it is too cute for me. Just let them have their damn match. Doesn't have to be Cleaver. Make it intense. That's one thing Punk still does. Yeah, I don't know. Just a bunch of dummies, dude. Somebody, and that's because they call everyone dummies, so they're dummies. Yeah. So John Draper says somebody really needs to talk to their doctor about the damage CTE does long term to your brain. So Joey Janela came out there and said, if you put Roman Reigns and the Boom Crew in the middle of Washington Square Park unexpectedly and told normal civilians that they could only take a picture with one, 70% would choose the Costco guys. Now, I don't know what kind of science or Joey Janela is doing. Yeah, I don't know about that. We'd have to. I'm genuinely curious. This guy goes, we are not all dummies at GCW. Mansour acknowledges the big dog Roman Reigns as the man. So the GCW world champion acknowledges that Roman Reigns is the man in response to Joey Janela, who's saying, like, I guarantee you that right now, if the Costco guys and Rizzler were standing in Times Square next to anyone, besides Cena and The Rock, more people would approach them for pictures. So do you guys agree with that? Like, do you think more people would recognize the Costco guys and the Rizzler than Roman Reigns in Times Square? Especially, that's like a weird place to choose as well. Times Square is like,
people overall, no. There might be some young people that don't TikTok, but no, people overall, if you're getting like, grandmas and like people from like the Midwest coming over, no, they're going to know who Roman Reigns is.
I actually have intensive data done on the Lippman family on this in this very arena, because my parents do not know who Roman Reigns is. My parents are Costco shoppers. They love Costco. Whatever that store brand is that makes everything. The cashmere is just as good as you get from Barney's or Neiman Marcus.
Kirkland vodka.
Kirkland, that's the brand.
They love Costco. I asked them, they don't know who the Costco guys are. So they're Costco people. My kids do not know who the Costco guys are either. But my kids, who are not wrestling fans, absolutely know who Roman Reigns is.
There you go.
And someone says, props to Mance for speaking on the obvious. Yeah, I love Mance Warner. And Steph DeLander, his girl, but I love Mance Warner, dude. I think he's great. So this guy took Timbo goes, here are some designs for a possible future HBO Max championship.
Oh God,
fantastic.
For who? A tag team? Like, Jesus Christ, why? And those are all terrible. Please God, don't make those any.
Make all of them,
dude. You have shitty takes. You have shitty takes.
Set.
You have shitty takes to Timbo, and you're bad at AI. What the?
I want to buy those as a coaster set.
Yeah. So speaking of it, Grim, leader of Belt Federation, says, seems like Janela might be right. More people recognize the Costco guys than they do Roman Reigns. I'll do more interviews and post them in this thread to be sure, though. Now, I don't believe this. If you went to like a big city like Chicago or New York or some Toronto, and you ask more people who are the Costco guys or Roman Reigns, and you ask 100 people, I don't know, but this made me curious. My quote tweet to this, though, you will see well, let's watch the video, and then I'll tell you what my quote tweet was.
What's up, everybody? It's Grim, and we're going to play a game of Recognize a Celebrity. So I'm going to show both of you guys 2 celebrities, and we want to see if you can recognize them. Okay, you ready? This is the first celebrity. John Cena. John Cena. And the second celebrity is? The Costco kids. You got the Costco kids right, and you got
the Costco guys.
Yeah, exactly. So what I quote tweeted and said, listen, calling Roman Reigns John Cena is in the same ballpark as calling the Costco guys the Costco kids, but far less egregious of an offense. It's in the same ballpark. It's in the same library, but it is. I don't know.
I like how he has one group that he did that with. He probably had like 50 other ones that knew both of them, or at least Roman.
I mean, shout out to AEW neckbeards for going public like this with his image.
So Elbu goes, give Dijak and Grimes their jobs back, and then bring back the leakers, says Elbu. And I don't know if Grimes leaked anything, but Dijak. Here's the thing, again, because you want to call me up for that. The Dijak thing, I have a screen grab that someone sent to me. Okay, so it's a screen grab of their conversation with this dirt sheet, and this dirt sheet's bragging about talking with Dijak, and then they sent a screen grab as well, and I see the whole conversation. It's back when he was T-Bar, and it's not Fightful. Okay, I said that then, and I say it now. But so he did leak, at least when he was T-Bar, and he was telling people stuff. And so I don't know about Grimes if he was doing that, but I don't know. Maybe they both got nice New Year's Eve holiday cards there for WWE.
Whatever it is, neither one of them necessarily deserves their job back. I mean, Dijak, they already have people that play the exact same role and the exact same character. And Grimes was great in NXT. On the main roster, nobody cared. And I'm sorry to say, but that's the job. It's the job of the wrestler to get themselves over. It's not the job of management to try. Do they do that with some people? Yes, they do. Is there favoritism? Yes, there is. Same as your job. But you know, that's just life. And you know what? If they reinvent themselves and you know, do great on the independents and whatnot, they'll get a chance to come back, a la Drew McIntyre, a la Cody Rhodes, a la so many.